I invite you to connect with the voices of the Bible as we listen to God's word from Exodus chapter 16, verses 1 through 18. Today we encounter one of Scripture's most famous miracles, manna from heaven. But this story offers far more than supernatural bread. It reveals profound truths about trust, community, and God's economy of abundance. Join me as we discover how ancient wilderness wanderers learned that when God provides, there's always enough for everyone. Picture this, over 600,000 people wandering through the Sinai desert just 6 weeks after escaping centuries of Egyptian slavery. They've traveled from the oasis of Elim to the desert of Sin. Yes, that's its actual name, though it has nothing to do with wrongdoing. Sin here is simply the Hebrew name for this wilderness region between Elim and Mount Sinai. These newly freed slaves face a crisis. Their food supplies have run out. In Egypt, even in slavery, they knew where their next meal came from. Now, in freedom's wilderness, uncertainty breeds panic. They look at their children's hungry faces and do what desperate people do. Oh, they complain. But notice, they complain to their leaders, Moses and Aaron, not directly to God. They even rewrite history claiming they sat by pots of meat in Egypt, forgetting the whips and forced labor that seasoned every meal. God's response transforms everything we think we know about divine economics. Instead of punishment for complaining, God promises provision. I'm going to make bread rain down from the sky for you. The Hebrew word mamtir means literally causing to rain, the same verb used for rain falling on crops. Creation itself bends toward generosity. But God's gift comes with instructions revealing deeper purposes. First, gather only what you need for each day. No hoarding, no stockpiling. For people who've known only scarcity, this requires radical trust. Second, on the sixth day, gather double for the Sabbath. Even in survival mode, rest remains sacred. The miracle unfolds in verses 13 to 15. Quail cover the camp at evening, meat as promised. Morning brings something unprecedented, thin flakes like frost covering the ground. Manna? The people ask. Literally, what is it? They don't even have a name for this divine provision. Sometimes God's gifts comes in forms that we don't recognize. But here's the passage's climax in verses 17 through 18. When they measure it out by the omer, the ones who had collected more had nothing left over, and the ones who had collected less had no shortage. This defies natural law. Whether you gathered much or little, you ended up with exactly what you needed, about 2 quarts per person. God's arithmetic operates differently than ours. In divine economics, sharing multiplies rather than divides. This reveals God's vision for community. The strong help the weak gather. The young assist the elderly. Those with more share with those who have less. And miraculously, everyone has enough. Not too much, not too little, exactly enough. What does ancient manna teach modern people? First, it challenges our scarcity mindset. We live in a culture that preaches never enough money, time, success, security. The manna story declares that with God, there is enough. When communities share resources, when we live with open hands rather than clenched fists, abundance emerges. Second, it reveals that God cares about physical needs, not just spiritual ones. The same God who provides salvation also provides supper. Faith isn't separate from daily life. It's woven through every meal, every need, every ordinary moment. Third, it teaches trust through daily dependence. The Israelites couldn't stockpile manna. It spoiled overnight, except before Sabbath. You see, they had to trust God's faithfulness every single morning. Now, we might not gather literal manna, but we're called to the same daily trust. Whether facing financial uncertainty, health challenges, or relationship struggles, we're invited to believe that tomorrow's provision will come. Finally, it models God's economy of abundance. In our world, those who gather more keep more. In God's economy, resources flow toward need until everyone has enough. This vision challenges how we approach everything from church budgets to personal generosity. The manna story isn't just ancient history, it's God's promise for today. The one who heard Israel's desperate complaints and responded with bread from heaven still hears our needs, still provides in unexpected ways, still invites us to live generously, trusting that when we share, everyone has enough. As you face this week's challenges, remember the wilderness lesson. God's economy operates on abundance, not scarcity. Live with open hands, share generously, trust daily, and watch how God transforms what is it moments into testimonies of provision. Thanks for joining Voices of the Bible. Until next time, I pray you discover there's always enough when God provides.